Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine. It's March 6th. These are your headlines. First and foremost, we've got the RISAA Show coming up this weekend, the 7th through the 9th. Hope to see you guys there. And on the fishing end of things, we're in a time of transition. We've got ice fishing to the north. We've got open water fishing to the south. We've seen pike, we've seen walleye, we've seen panfish, we've seen pickerel, we've seen lots of largemouth bass, even some stripers. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
No guessing, just catching. New Explore Series fish finders keep you locked on fish with unbeatable clarity, best-in-class imaging options, and a stunning ultra-bright HD screen. There's more to explore, only with Humminbird.
Before we begin, we've got a few news items for you guys. The first one, I just want to promote the March edition of the New England Fisherman magazine. And this is an excellent edition. We've got a lot of great stuff in here. In the glossy section, actually I kick it off with the plug building article all about the Danny Pickney bootleg, which is a really cool plug with a really interesting history. So even if you're not going to build the plug, you're going to get something cool out of it, and I think you'll enjoy reading it, or at least I hope you will. If you're repowering your boat, we got you covered there with John Raguso. We got Jenny Ackerman doing some custom rod art, which you can try out on your home lathe. My favorite article in the glossy section is this one by Christian Awe. It's all about getting invited on someone's boat to go offshore and then how to get invited back. So, being there with the net, being the guy that's got the camera out, being the, always being one step ahead of everybody else. This article tells you all about how to do that. Very informative, it's just a great concept, and I think you're really going to enjoy that. Also, if you're thinking about traveling to Alaska, we've got a whole thing about the Tanaku Lodge and, what you can expect there, which sounds like an amazing trip as well. And then in the local section, in the newsprint section, we've got a really awesome profile of Captain Mike Roy, which is not only going to tell you a lot about Mike and his fishing and his life, but also going to make you a better striped bass fisherman. I can pretty much guarantee you that. We've got the tuna top 10 coming from Captain Jack Sprengel. Basically, this top 10 is the top 10 things that tuna fishermen either forget or don't even know that they need. So this is a really good one for all you offshore guys. I got a pre-spawn pickerel piece, and March is probably the best month of the entire year, if you ask me, and stretching into April a little bit too, to find the biggest pickerel of your life. So this tells you all about how I try to do that. You can do some ice out carp fishing, and if you've ever thought about getting into fly fishing, especially saltwater fly fishing, we've got this article here by Joshua Long that will really help you kind of know when to go fly fishing, know when to grab the fly rod. Very informative story, which I think you guys are really going to enjoy. And then a little bonus piece at the end. We've got the One Fish story, which is this series I started over the winter, where the article talks about one specific catch, or in this case, loss. And this story is by Charlie Soares, and it's all about basically getting owned by a giant fish. Really great story. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So you can get that in your mailbox if you're a subscriber. You can head on down to the corner store, the tackle shop, to pick it up off the counter there. Or you can come to the RISAA Show, and I will hand it to you in person. While we're talking about the RISAA Show, let's just run down a little bit of what's going to happen there. The RISAA Show is that show in New England that nobody ever wants to miss. It's the biggest saltwater fishing show in New England. It's the one where you see all your buddies again. It's got custom plug builders. They've got all the charter captains, all the famous ones. You can renew your fisherman subscription there, of course. And this year we're going to be giving away these awesome fishing pliers. I've been working for the Fisherman in some capacity for 21 years, going back to 2004. And I have worked the show as the editor and as a, just as like a guest helper, I guess, for many of those years. And I've seen every prize that we've ever given away, and this one is the best by far. I mean, look at these things. They are titanium coated stainless steel. They have a really reliable, durable hinge. They got a really excellent sharp cutter. They're not going to rust. They come with this great sheath. They come with a reliable lanyard. And they retail for $30. So it's going to cost you $31.95 for the subscription. So you're basically either getting a $30 pair of pliers for free, or you're getting your subscription for free, however you want to look at it. So We're hoping to see you guys at the RISAA Show. We'll be doing subscriptions. We'll be talking fishing. And if you got a great fishing story, come and see me. We can either do a little interview on camera. I'm going to have my camera here, or we can talk about getting you into the magazine and writing your first story. So come on by and check us out. I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys there.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
Next thing is the giveaway, which is ongoing, and it's kicking up a little bit. We're starting to see a few more photos coming in a little bit with a little more regularity at this point, but still, you know, it's about what you'd expect for March. But this time around, we're going to give away a surf howdy made by me. I actually have the one we're going to give away sitting right here, and I thought this was the best one to give away of the three I made for the article, basically because I was trying to emulate Bernsey, the guy who invented this plug, when I painted it. So I thought it was a good one to give away. If you guys are first-time viewers and you don't know what this giveaway is all about, basically you send your fishing photos into me at danderson@thefisherman.com or text them to the number on the screen. Give me the pertinent details like the name of the angler, where the fish was caught, how big it was, you know, stuff like that. And you get yourself in the contest to win this plug. I'm also going to be giving away a Dexter fillet knife with it. So it's a pretty awesome prize package. This one is going to extend all the way till May 25th. So we got a long way to go before we pick a winner. But basically you're trying to wow me. You want to take a photo of an angler holding a fish. It can't be like sitting on the ground or something like that. Send them in to me and I pick my favorite. And the person who wins my favor wins the prize. So send those in to me and we'll see who wins. Moving over to the reports now, we are in a time of transition. Up in the North Country, you know, we got Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Up there, we've got plenty of safe ice. I've been hearing numbers 12 to 24 inches of ice up there. I do think that, you know, recent weather and, you know, a little bit of a warm up is going to start to erode at that, but I think it's going to take several weeks before you have to start worrying about the ice up there. Reports coming out of Maine and New Hampshire have been a little slower this week. Hard to say why. Have seen some guys doing some lake trout action. Seen a lot of largemouth bass coming through the ice up there as well. Drop it down over the border. We're going to check in first with Kevin Huang from Surfland Bait and Tackle.
What's up, guys? Kevin from Surfland Bait and Tackle, checking in with the weekly report. As the warm weather kicks in like today and some of that rain, the ice is starting to go. Last week before this warm spell, there were still some places around with like 10 inches, 12 inches, but as of right now, I'm not sure. But so I would definitely be extra safe if you're gonna go out there and try. But the Plum Island Surfcasters Juniors, they went out and they got some nice white perch, and I'm gonna attach a picture of the white perch caught. And this type of fishing, jigging is awesome for panfish, white perch, yellow perch, any type of panfish, largemouth, smallmouth, pickerel, everything will hit jigs. But this time of the month, a lot of the deep sea guys, they're all getting ready because all the boats be going in soon for that offshore cod, haddock. Cod's not open yet, but haddock fishing, pollock fishing. Everyone's getting ready for that. And then all the shad guys are itching now too, because the shad run's going to start in a few weeks or so, depending on the water temperature. But fishing is kicking, and as you can hear the birds, it's coming.
Now we're going to drop down into the Boston area. We're going to check in with Danny Parma from Fish Bucket Sport Fishing.
Thanks, Dave. Dan checking in with this week's report. Not much going on this week. There are still a couple of guys out there in the local ponds doing some ice fishing, but pretty much everyone's gearing up for the spring. There's a lot of seminars going on right now. Over the weekend, I was at the Castafari fishing seminar in Quincy on Saturday and Sunday. Extremely good seminars by some of the best captains in the tuna and offshore canyon fishing game. it was all day Saturday, all day Sunday. You know, they went over everything from, you know, rigging ballyhoo to you know, rigging up stick baits and you know, trolling 9-rod spreads out in the canyons, and it was just a really, really good class. They also had some really nice raffles, which I happened to win. I won one of the giant Fat Wally fish totes, which is going to look really nice on the fish bucket when we're out there haddock fishing. So, looking forward to that. Yeah, besides that, I'm just gearing up for RISAA. RISAA's this weekend coming up. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The fish bucket crew will be out there, and we look forward to seeing you guys. Anyway, that's what I got. Stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one.
1, 2, 3. Heading out to Central Mass. Still got plenty of safe ice in Central Mass. I would start keeping a closer eye on the edges now, especially after the rain and this recent warm-up. Things are going to start to deteriorate. We're still seeing lots of fish, though. Seeing a lot of largemouth bass coming out of Central Mass. Haven't seen too much trout recently, but that is probably going to change as the state gets around doing more stocking. Decent numbers of pike and some really nice pickerel coming out of that region as well. Let's head further west now and check in with Roy Leyva.
Hey Dave, Roy Leyva here, checking in from Western Mass. I'm not even going to tell you how the fishing is, because obviously it's good. We're at the end of the season, the end of ice season, that is. And we still have quite a bit of ice here in Western Mass. Probably 14 to 20 inches, depending on what body of water you're on. The only thing I will say is we've had some warm days. The edges are starting to go. Some places you're going to need a plank to get on. And we had significant amount of rain today and 50 degrees. So that's going to do quite a bit of a number on that ice, even though it's 14 to 20 inches. So remember, this time of the year, it's not really about how thick the ice is, but the quality of the ice, and that can deteriorate really fast. I've had my foot go through 20 inches of ice in a matter of seconds after running around all morning on it for flags. So, you know, I urge caution heading out if you're going to come out here. This is probably going to be the last weekend that I fish. For here on out, I'll play it by ear, but I'm planning for this to be my last weekend on the ice, hopefully. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys next week and let you know what's going on. Just remember, spud your way out there and spud your way back. Peace.
Heading down into Southeast Mass, this is where that like demarcation line is the most noticeable. On the Buzzards Bay side of Southeast Mass, you know, New Bedford, Fairhaven, Mattapoisett, Marion, Wareham, we've got open water on the ponds there. You go north of 25, north of 195, north of 495, and you're starting to see more ice. And as you get closer to the Cape Cod Bay coast, talking to Pete Belson the other day, they still had 7 to 9 inches of ice on local ponds. That's basically from Pembroke down to Plymouth. And the trout ponds at Plymouth have been putting out pretty good, especially Little Pond and Long Pond. Guys have been doing well on the ice there. I don't know how long the ice will last, especially on Long Pond, so you're going to want to play it by ear there, but the fishing's been good. And the bass fishing's been excellent in the bog ponds, along with some Titanic pickerel, which those places are very famous for. Pete also told me that they weighed in a Massachusetts state pin crappie, which was caught in Oldham Pond up in Pembroke. So the ice fishing is still alive and well in that region, but if you want to get on, I would do it sooner than later, because I think those days are numbered. We're going to be open water fishing there before we know it. Crossing the canal onto the Cape, no ice on the Cape anymore. It's all open water fishing. Surprisingly, I haven't heard of really any trout reports coming out of the Cape this week, but more guys have been largemouth bass fishing, and it sounds like on the average, these fish are on the smaller side so far. And it seems like the best method has been live shiners, which has also attracted some giant pickerel. And we've seen some big pickerel taken on jerk baits and chatter baits as well. On the saltwater end of things, really not hearing anything from the Cape at all yet. The only little things, you know, I saw Jason Colby from Little Sister Charters was looking for people to fill out his flounder trips out of Sassuat Harbor from April 1st to May 1st, so you can give him a call or shoot him an email if you want to get on one of those. And also, you know, a little sign of spring coming. The Red Top Spring Sale has been scheduled. We're going to see that starting up on March 22nd and going all the way to April 6th. And that's what I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week. Moving over into Rhode Island, let's start things off with an East Bay report from TJ Kopecky.
Thanks, Dave. Hey guys, nice to be back. Got a quick video for a little bit of East Bay and a little bit of South Coast Massachusetts, and we'll get to that in a second. It's a little slow in the East Bay. A lot of our ponds that we fish in have been knocked out by the closure of the season because they're stocked trout ponds, but I got to tell you, if you shop around in the East Bay a little bit, there's a couple places that you actually can fish. One in Barrington would be Echo Lake, and Omega Pond up in East Providence is another good bet for traveling. But if you do have a Massachusetts freshwater fishing license, I got to tell you, welcome to come over into Massachusetts and do some fishing there, which is not far from the East Bay. I mean, you got several ponds you can fish in. South Watupa, you get access from the Tiverton line, you get access from Fall River, you get access from Westport. There's lots of places to fish there. You have Nokachoke in Dartmouth, which you have several different places you can fish in that body of water. You've also got places in Swansea like Milford Pond, Lewenbrook Pond, all good bets for fishing. And don't forget the Upper Warren Reservoir, which is up on the old quarter mile, as we used to call it when I was a kid, which is a big body of water, and you can put a kayak in there and fish. So you do have kayak access there also. And I got to tell you, all those ponds are doing really well right now with crappie, perch, yellow perch, white perch. Pan fishing is great right now in those bodies of water. The weather really hasn't been cooperating too much, but hey, we got a warm front coming through, and it looks like temperatures are going to stay a little warm. We got a lot of open water to fish in. And don't forget, if you're driving to South Watupa and you're coming up from Tiverton, take a stop in at Cook Pond too. It's another good spot in Massachusetts that you can fish in. The only other thing I wanted to talk about is it's March, and it's like white perch season now. And a couple of places that you can look at would be the Palmer River, and then Hundred Acre Cove in Barrington, maybe the Coles River in Swansea. Good places to just try to see if you can catch some of those. They love those little brackish water estuaries, and they're going to come up and spawn right now. There's very good spots around here in the East Bay for white perch fishing. So those are some other good opportunities. And one other thing, I just wanted to mention that it feels like fishing season is going to start this weekend, honestly, because the big show's coming. And I will be there with Todd Trans in the Hook Gear booth Saturday and Sunday. And I hope to see you guys there. And that's what we got from the East Bay. Tight lines, guys. I'll see you at the show.
Over in Rhode Island, we're seeing a lot of guys open water fishing for largemouth bass. Now, the one thing you have to look out for in Rhode Island is the fact that any body of water that will be stocked with trout is off limits from March 1st to the second Saturday in April. In this case, that would be April 12th. So you got to watch out for that little white sign. It says trout stocked waters, and if you go in there with a fishing rod in your hand and you get caught, you're going to get a ticket. There's no way around it. And talking to some of the DEM officers around, that stays on your record forever. So if you ever slip up again, you're you're going to get a ticket for sure. So you don't want that on your permanent record, so stay out of those spots. So far, the bass fishing's been a little bit like the Cape. It's been finesse tactics only, so smaller jerk baits, Ned rigs, hair jigs, stuff like that. And from what I've seen, it's mostly been smaller fish, you know, fish in the 12 to 14 inch range. I haven't seen any big mamas yet, but they're definitely coming. I think we're just a little further behind than what we're accustomed to over these last 5 to 10 years where we've had all these warm winters. This has been a return to old school, and I think it's just going to take a little bit longer to get there. One of the ways I know this is just knowing that the water temperature is so low. Just on Sunday was a great example. I drove by a pond that had been open for weeks, and you know, Sunday we had, it was like 17 degrees for the morning high, and you just see that ice just sprawling across these sheltered coves, and that lets you know that the water is right on the cusp of freezing temperature. It's probably like 34, 33 degrees. And so when you get that really cold temperature on top of it, the ice just kind of spontaneously forms. It's really cool. But the largemouth bass fishing has been good. Seen a few pickerel coming out, and the perch fishing has been really, really good across any of these non-trout stocked waters. The other thing that I've been seeing is more and more guys hitting the salt ponds now, and we are starting to see some results. Most of the fish are striped bass in the 16 to 22 inch range, not big fish, but it's always nice to get those first stripes on the board in March. And the other thing that I've been hearing is that the head boats just haven't been running. The weather's been terrible just about every weekend, and the fishing has been slow. So I think right now they're kind of holding off and waiting for things to warm up. So just keep your eye on their social media. Eventually, they will make another run, and you can get aboard. And I will try to keep you guys updated on that. And while we're in Rhode Island, let's check in with Jeff Sullivan. Here he is.
What's up, guys? What's up, Dave? Checking back in this week. It's been a busy week. Been pretty busy week, getting ready for the big RISAA show this weekend. As far as Lucky Bait and Tackle goes, we're open for the year. We open March 1st for the season. We're open 6 days a week. The Tuesdays were closed in the month of March, so I can tell you the store is chock full of stuff. We worked hard over the wintertime getting tackle and inventory in, and rods, reels, you name it. That store is chock full, so we're ready to roll for the season, locked and loaded. As far as the RISAA show goes, I will be at booth number 1311 for the weekend. It's the RISAA surf casting booth. I took over that program because they were going to get rid of it, so I said, don't get rid of it, I'll take over. And we got new ideas, and hopefully we get some new members this year, and good things to come as far as that goes. I'm pretty excited. Also, if you guys are going to be at the show, tune in on Friday and Sunday for the 2 seminars me and Paul Chapman will be doing. The first one is the spring migration, spring run, how to get prepped for it, what to look for, what bait forages to look for, get your tackle and gear ready, what to use, lunar cycles, stuff like that. And the Sunday one is going to be about squid hounds, which is going to be bass, striped bass on squid, what kind of baits, presentations, areas, stuff like that, and that nature. Should be a fun show. Hope to see you guys there. And one more thing, the fishing aspect part of things right now has been pretty good. It's after trout closed for the winter, I switched right over to finesse fishing and just been, hopping bottom with Ned rigs and trying to knock on some doors and see if anybody's home after a long winter. So I did notice the water is a lot dirtier than it was in the years prior, strictly because we had ice for two months. So all that dirt and sediment and stuff that was laying on top of the ice, now that the ice is thawed out, is now in the water column, and it's been pretty windy. So as far as that goes, it's been just mucky water. So if you use bright colors like a hot pink, a chartreuse, as far as like the Ned rig goes, that's what I've been using. I've been finding life on the bottom. Some yellow perch, the largemouth, smaller class largemouth for right now until the next couple weeks advance, and we'll start getting some bigger class fish. But right now, it's been pretty good. Can't complain, Dave. I'm ready for spring. We set the clocks ahead this weekend, and after the show, it's go time. All right. Well, I hope to see you guys this weekend, and it's going to be a good one. All right. Peace.
In the famed waters of Panama awaits a fishing experience like no other. Tropic Star Lodge welcomes anglers to get in on world-famous fishing action. Plan your perfect trip today. Tropic Star Lodge, the ultimate in fishing adventures for more than 60 years.
Crossing over into Connecticut, the story's about the same. You know, we have a divided state, pretty much from like 95 or even a little further north of 95 to the coast is open water. Then you got a little slush belt in the middle. And then as you get further north, there's a lot of safe ice in the northern part of the state. I was checking in with Andrew from Fishing Factory 3. He told me that one of his customers measured 15 inches of ice in the northeast corner over the weekend. I'm sure that's come down a little bit with the rain and the warmer temperatures this week, but it takes a while to melt 15 inches. So the edges are going to be iffy, and guys are going to have to improvise to get on, which I don't condone, by the way. But ice fishing is, really, most of the reports I've heard out of Connecticut have been ice fishing reports, as the hardcore guys just scrambling to spend as much time on the ice as they can before it's over, before it all melts away. So I think we've got, 1 to 2.5 weeks left of ice fishing in Connecticut. So if you're one of these guys that can't get enough of it, I would get out there and make it happen while you can. Moving into the Connecticut River region, we have seen some guys getting out on the coves. I'm sure they're having to improvise to get on, especially with the rain coming down, the runoff coming down. It's kind of raising and lowering the water level. But the pan fishing's been really good. I know Wright's Cove's been putting out fish. And as things start to melt away, I think you'll start to see some good white perch and some yellow perch fishing up in Hamburg Cove. You might find some stripers way up in the back up there. Some really good pickerel fishing to be had around there as well. And Chapman Pond also. Once that opens up, that jerkbait bite should fire right up with some pickerels, maybe some pike, largemouth bass, some stripers. It's a really good spot as well. While we're in the Connecticut River corridor here, let's check in with our field correspondents, and we'll start with Rowan Lytle.
Hey everybody, it is blowing quite a bit out here this week. Now we got some seriously flip-floppy weather in the Connecticut River Valley. Just came off a fairly cold weekend that held the ice up. In fact, we've still got more than 10 inches of ice in a lot of places. As I've been saying a lot, the edges can be weird, and with warm rain coming through just after I film this, a lot of places might lose their fishable ice, but I suspect there will still be plenty of places, especially outside of the river valley, that you can still get on the ice, and especially enjoyable when we got above freezing temperatures coming up. So ice chances are not over, but most of the river has opened up. Now, a lot of days you're seeing a lot of chunks of ice floating downriver as ice patches break up upriver, so that can make navigating the river in boats tricky, and most of the boat launch ramps are still not in. The docks are not in yet, so, exercise caution if you are going to try and get out on the river on a boat, but things will pick up. Bait fishing for channel catfish should be productive at the moment. Pre-spawn pike is definitely starting to happen. The water temperatures haven't quite gotten to the sweet spot yet, but the fish should definitely be moving shallow, so there's plenty to look forward to over the coming week.
And now we'll cross the river and we'll check in with Matt Stone from Black Hall Outfitters.
What's up everyone, Matt from Black Hall Outfitters in Westbrook with this week's fishing report. Losing the last bit of ice here as we're heading into the middle section of March. Water's starting to open up, especially around the edges. Not sure about safe ice down here near the shoreline. I think it's pretty much a goner. Trout streams are getting some moving water. Guys are doing well there. Definitely enough to kind of fish a bunch of different spots. If there's any low water over the winter, it seems like the melt is influencing that and helping move that water a little bit better for you. Freshwater wise, we're going to get into the time of year where deep diving jerk baits and things like that are really helpful as those lethargic winter bass wake up. And as well as, the saltwater bass, our favorite stripers, they're starting to wake up a little bit too. Holdovers locally should be in action here from now kind of through like April. Of course, it gets better as it gets warmer. Low and slow is the rule with those. Small baits, I like flukes, paddle tails, 3/8 ounce jig head, things like that. SP minnows and mag darters work really well too. Change it up. A lot of times you got to find them. That's the hard part, and then go from there. Good luck and have fun.
Now we'll head inland and we'll check in with Derrick Kirkpatrick from Connecticut Fish Guides over there at the Farmington River.
Hi Dave, coming to you today from inside my fly tying room and office. So the weather, we're finally getting that transition that we've been looking for and hoping for, and we're getting some rain this week. little over an inch and a quarter today, hopefully. That's going to help fill up our reservoirs. It's also going to do away with most, if not all, of the snow, hopefully. You're still going to have snowpack, obviously, up in the high elevation, which that's important. That gives us our spring runoff and helps keep, you know, our reservoirs at an optimum level. Our reservoirs were low throughout the winter, so hopefully we do get a fair amount of precipitation now that the Farmington has the flow control in the hands of DEEP. You're going to see much more regulated flows on the Farmington, and instead of having quick spikes and drops of ups and downs, you're going to see a much more incremental kind of flow release and decrease, which is more stable. I'm thinking that's going to have a positive effect on the fishery. So we definitely have good things headed our way that differ from the past 2-3 years as far as water's concerned. Our overall data collection from DEP's river shocking show that the wild fish populations are steady at 38% collection in September. And that's where we've pretty much been for the past, 4 or 5 years. So the river's in good shape. The flow situation is getting better. Our bugs are still decreasing, but that's pretty much everywhere. So long term, the fishing is going to get a lot better. This was a very tough winter in terms of fly fishing. That's why most of these reports have been from within my office instead of on the river. And a lot of that was just wind. It's not so much cold temperatures. We had a lot of wind. So I definitely was doing a lot more ice fishing this year and guiding on the ice. But it's looking like we're going to have a really excellent spring. If you're headed out this week, I think stonefly is probably the name of the game. So you can fish stonefly nymphs anywhere from 20 up to 8s. And I feel like if you just focus on stoneflies throughout the day, you could run into a good bite. There have been midges, but I've not found the fish are that keyed up on them, although some small midge patterns can also kind of cross over and represent those capnias, the real small ones. And you're going to start seeing those size 14 early stones that are going to hatch, especially towards the end of the month. So yeah, stonefly is the name of the game. Look for that later bite window that happens during the end of winter. It hasn't really happened thus far from what I've collected from other anglers and myself. But that bite around 3 p.m. should turn on soon, we're hoping. But pretty much the bite windows have been late morning into sometimes early afternoon. So, you can still sleep in a little bit, get out, and then head home early. And currently that's been a pretty good window. But we're going to have a big flow bump from this 1.5 inches of rain. I hope they hold a lot of it back in the reservoir to help fill the reservoir. Hopefully we won't be impacted too much, but the still is definitely going to come up a lot. There's going to be ice, coming down. Be careful. No need to get in the water. Water's going to be cold because of the snow melt. That bump, it's gonna fish tough. So once that subsides and the still goes down, your water temps will regulate a little more, and that's when the fishing's really gonna stabilize and get good. So if anybody's looking to get out that doesn't fly fish or is interested in fly fishing, by all means, check out my website, ctfishguides.com. We can get you out there. And it's no different than anything else. You're just using a different tool set. And look forward to giving these reports again next year. Back to you, Dave.
The western half of the state is very similar to the eastern half. We've got open water along the coast, and we've got ice well inland. I have heard of some walleye being caught this week. It's particularly from Kopecky Pog. I mean, that's probably the best name for a pond ever. But some of the other ponds that are stocked with walleye are also putting out fish. We've seen some nice pike coming out of Mansfield and Patchogue and places like that. And I think the biggest news of the week is that the ice flows have kind of started to slow down a little bit on the Housatonic River, which has made the striped bass fishing kind of come back to life. And we've actually seen some nice fish coming out of there after dark. And, you know, guys aren't dealing with the ice so much. The bite's picking up, especially on those warmer days. You know, the night after a warmer day has been good, especially if we get a little precip. So those are some tips for you there. And just fishing the lightest jig head possible, and, you know, throwing some big soft plastics is a good way to get a bigger fish. For a little bit more on that and some of the other things that are going on in the western part of the state, let's check in now with Max Finch from Fisherman's World.
Hey everyone, Max here from Fisherman's World with another local fishing report. This past week, the weather was a lot nicer and we had a lot of less ice on the Housatonic, making it a lot more fishable upriver near Sullivan's Island, the Glass Holes, Sunnyside School. We saw some nice stripers taken at night. Seems like guys are really starting to get into it now and starting to hit them now in March. This should just really increase by mid to late March. The Housatonic should be on fire, and come April, you know, depending on how much herring show up, you know, it can really blow up upriver. Throwing stuff like, you know, 4 to 6 inch range paddle tails during the day, and then at nighttime guys like to bump it up to that 9 inch, 12 inch, you know, 9 inch sluggos, 9 inch paddle tails. This definitely X-nays a smaller fish, and the big girls always chew better at night. Moving to the saw out front, we've heard of some rumors, some herring still. Actually saw a couple pictures, some taken this past week, so hopefully this really blows up in March. You know, last year the winter herring showed up very, very late, so hopefully this year, you know, we'll see them late again. And guys were filling up buckets around Norwalk Harbor and Southport and Stanford area. People are starting to gear up now for the freshwater. This should get real fishable soon. You know, people are fishing our local rivers like Norwalk River, Saugatuck, and the Mianus. We are fully stocked up with all your bait you need. We have all still, you know, shiners, live worms, everything you need, and everything you need to get on the saw. Thanks and good luck.
That's what I have for you guys in the reports this week. Hopefully it's going to inspire you to get out there, or at least inspire you to hit up the RISAA Show this weekend and renew your subscription, get your free pair of pliers, and talk fishing with me a little bit. If you're not a subscriber to The Fisherman, I highly recommend you head over to our website. That's thefisherman.com. You get a full taste of what we offer. We cover all the fishing from Delaware to Maine. We cover travel pieces that go outside the region, and all angling disciplines, whether you're a surf guy, whether you're a kayak guy, whether you want to fish off a paddleboard, you got twin outboards and you're heading out to the canyons, or you're an inshore guy, whatever it is, we cover it all. It's $31.95 for the year. That gets you 12 paper issues sent to your house, 26 digital editions sent to your email, and access to all of our back issues that go back as far as 2017 on the website. And it gets you access to our other 2 editions. So if you sign up for the New England edition, which is the one that I run, you are also going to get the Long Island Metro edition, and you're going to get the New Jersey Delaware edition. So that's 3 magazines for the price of 1. Free pair of pliers if you come to a show. I mean, come on, just go for it. But if you're still not interested after all that, at the very least, give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube, and hit that little bell thing right about there so you get a notification every time we post something new. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.